guys, I hope you're having a very good day, and today I'm going to be doing part 1 of my wrap-up. Since I've been gone, I have read quite a few amount of books. I technically read 27 books, and so I wanted to do a wrap-up of all of those books starting since January all the way to now, August, yeah. But I wanted to talk about them a little bit, so I thought I might as well cut this up into 2 parts, which I honestly really don't want to do, but it's pretty much the only way I feel like I can talk about the books in the set amount of time I have. I messed up the months I read these books in and lost track, so I'm not going to be mentioning what months I read these books in because I honestly cannot remember. So yeah, without further ado, let's get started. So starting off the year, I read Helen by Julie Kagawa. This is her newest novel about dragons living today society and a secret organization that hunts them down and kills them. Our main character, Ember, is unaware that she is being hunted down by these 2 soldiers. Now, this book I was really hesitant going into. Like, I love Blood of Eden, but when I heard about this, I really thought it wasn't going to be that great. I was like, oh, my favorite series is by this author, but I don't think this is going to be anything better. I was so wrong. This book made me feel the feelings. I did a review of this, but I'm having trouble uploading it, so that sucks. I love this book. I love the characters that were introduced. I love Ember because she just made me want to do so many things. She wanted me to go out. I love her feistiness. I love this book so much. I give it 5 out of 5 stars. I highly recommend that you guys go and read it because it's so good. Read anything Julie Kagawa because she is an awesome author. And the next book I have also read was Ink by Amanda Sun. This book is about a girl who moves to Japan to live with her aunt after her mother passes away, and she doesn't really like it because she's going to a school where she doesn't understand the language, the culture, and everyone just makes fun of her for being that American girl in Japan who doesn't fit in. And to make matters worse, she keeps seeing these illusions of moving pictures every time she's around one guy. I really liked it when I read it. I love that it was about Japanese gods instead of like all the usual stuff. After I thought about it for a while, I just really couldn't, I wondered why I liked it so much. I like that there's pictures throughout the book, and there's Japanese words within it. The relationship, there's just a lot of relationship stuff that I really didn't like for some reason, and especially her relationship with the love interest. He did some stuff that I found was very inexcusable, even though I know he has his reasons, but couldn't you do a lighter side to it, maybe? This book, 4 stars when I read it, but I think I would have to lower it down to 3 stars or 2.5 really. The next book that I read was Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone by J.K. Rowling. I really enjoyed it rereading it a second time because just rereading it makes me notice some stuff that I haven't noticed before. I give this book 4 stars. Harry Potter forever. The next book that I read was Crown of Midnight by Sarah J. Maas. For so long I've been trying to read Terrifier and just couldn't get into it. So I finally just reread Crown of Midnight, and I gave it a 4 out of 5 star rating. There was a disconnection between me and the characters, but I tried not to let that alter my rating of the book. I really enjoyed it. I was very shocked and surprised with the events that happened, but the characters and my relationship between them just wasn't really breached in a way. I still love the character. I mean, there was just a wall. There was a barrier between me and them, and I just couldn't get over it. So I kind of just went into this kind of emotionless of what was going on. I can say that this is not my favorite book in the Throne of Glass series. I still love its existence, but it's not my favorite. The next book I read was Mr. Penumber's 24-Hour Bookstore by Robin Slum. This book is about a guy who gets a job at a 24-hour bookstore, and he starts to notice something very weird going on with the customers. I really enjoyed. I seriously thought it was going to be one of those really eerie fantasy reads, go in the turn of fantasy that I thought it was going to, but still took a turn that really surprised me and made me enjoy the book a lot. I rated 4 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. It was really different from any other book that I've read. The next book I read after that was The Young Elise by Marie Lu. This is Marie Lu's fantasy dystopian novel about a disease that ruins this girl's world and her life. She is scarred by it So one day she decides to run away, but as she runs away, she discovers that she has these supernatural abilities and ends her in the palace dungeons waiting execution. The story takes off. She is recruited by this group called the Young Elites that are technically the whole bunch of other teenagers who have supernatural abilities and are trying to take down the queen. This book I've really enjoyed. I was surprised by how much I really enjoyed it. It just blew me away. I love the main characters, how she was just a different. It interested me that she took a turn for kind of the more darker side than to the good side in a way. 4 stars, and I'm really looking forward to picking up the next book, The Rose Society. The next book I read after that was Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets by J.K. Rowling. Once again, this book I really enjoyed. Another great reread, but also like Crown of Midnight, it's not my favorite second book in the series. I'm not going to go into much details. This book I gave 4 out of 5 stars. The next book I read after that was The Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab. This book, once again, surprised me. I was so amazed by the world that V.E. Schwab created. This book is about a guy who is able to travel between these parallel Londons, and one day he receives this package that contains a magical artifact that is causing more damage than good. And so he has to team up with a wannabe woman pirate. Halfway through this book, it made me very enticed to pick up V.E. Schwab's other book. I gave this book 5 stars. It flowed so naturally and how I was captured since page 1 to the last page. Plus the cover is gorgeous. The next book I read was The Lies of Locke and Lamore by Scott Lynch. This book, I decided to take it as a Robin Hood retelling. This book is about a group called the Gentlemen Bastards, and they are kind of raised by this blind pope to become thieves for an unnamed god. They steal from the rich but keep them for themselves. They get this one heist that can ruin everything that they have built. This book, it took me a lot longer for me to read, but I still really enjoyed it. I like the writing style, I like the fantasy world that Scott Lynch has created, and I like the characters that he has developed so well. The book I read after that was The Well of Ascension by Brandon Sanderson, the second book in the Mistborn series. It's by far my favorite book in the Mistborn trilogy. It was so good. I love the fighting scenes. I love how Vin just grew as a character into caring for people when she was just trying to stay away and self-preserve herself, and now she's just like, no, you hurt that person, I will hunt you down and hurt you more. I don't know what to say. I love the relationships that were just built with Vin and a few other characters. An odd fact, I really don't like Eldon. Eldon isn't really my favorite character for some reason, and throughout the entire book I was rooting for Vin to be with some psychotic, manipulative, crazy person, and I don't know why. I just liked him better than Eldon for some reason. But I just don't get how I don't like Eldon. Like, hey, you're sitting in my favorite reading spot. I feel like me and Eldon just have to sit down and talk about our relationship because I don't know what's going on. That was odd. Yeah, I gave it 4 stars. And that was Angel Fall by Susan E., the first book in the Penguin and the Day series. Dystopian novel about angels that attack Earth, and then humans are barely surviving, and our main character's sister is taken away by a gang of angels, and she partners up with a crippled angel to get her back. This book I enjoyed as much as the first time I read it. I love Susan E.'s writing, how quick it is, and how on point she is when it comes to fighting scenes. Like, please give me that ability. I suck at writing fighting scenes. If you guys are looking for a different dystopian, you guys should go check this out because I haven't read a dystopian like this in a long time, and it just really refreshed dystopian for me. Oh yeah, I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars, I think. The next book I read was Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. This is a book about a world that is just really devastated. Everyone escapes the world through an online game called Oasis. And within Oasis, there is a contest. Our main character stumbles upon the first key, and he is within a race to figure out how to just basically survive within the game and also in real life. This book really surprised me in so many ways. I wasn't really knowing what to expect when going into this book because I've been hearing nothing but rave for these books. Really brought out the gamer in me, which I really don't use much. 4 stars. The last book I'm going to show you guys is Fallen Kingdoms by Morgan Rhodes. This was a reread from I love Fallen Kingdoms and the series that Morgan Rhodes has created. And this book, I just wanted to go back. I was blown away. Reading this book, I was just like, oh my, are you serious? That's how these characters started? Just comparing these characters from these books as opposed to the characters in the third book, Gathering Darkness, you could just tell that they have evolved so much from this book to the third, and it's just, it was so good. I still gave this book 5 out of 5 stars, and I'm so looking forward to just continuing rereading the series and reading the 4th book, which comes out this December. If you guys haven't read Fallen Kingdoms, you guys definitely should. Also, I have noticed Julie Kagwa has blurred this book. These are 13 of the books that I've read since the beginning of the year, and look out for part 2. Anyways, I will see you guys in part 2, and also more videos to come up soon. Goodbye!